And welcome back, students. As we continue our work with conditionals, let's now get into the next piece of the puzzle here. We've already discussed if, we've already discussed else, but now let's look at if you want to test more than just two things. Because before, an if tests one condition and then else kind of acts as our catch-all. It just holds everything in it. But if we want to, let's say, test more than one condition, we want to start testing multiples, well, we can use what's called an else if statement. Though in Python it's spelled ELIF, so we can do those in order to test more than one condition. So if I look back here, I have if num1 is less than num2. Let's say I want to take this out, so this is just going to be num1 is equal to num2. So now I don't have that greater than part. So I'm going to go in here, and if I just put in an if, and we say num1 is greater than num2, we of course now have an if. But the problem is doing it this way is that this part right here is going to pretty much be its own block of code rather than being part of the whole picture. So by putting another if here, it's now just testing this chunk right here, but we want to test the whole thing. So to make this an else if, I'm just going to come in here and add EL in front of that. Now I have this whole code being tested. Because remember, you have to have an if in your program. You do not have to have an else in your program. All right, else is simply just there as a catch-all. So you have to have your first line be if. After that, if you want to test more conditions, you can just add an else if. All right, and so that's what this line right here does. Allows me to test more than one thing. Then, of course, you have your else, which acts as your catch-all. So if we run this program, all right, and let's go ahead and input a number. Let's just say 5. We got number 1 is less than number 2 because number 1 was 3 and we inputted 5. Excellent. Now let's look at the same thing now, but with strings. All right, we have here our word hello. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a if statement here. And let's just do if word 1 equals. Let's just do our hello. Now this, of course, should print out and say the words are the same. So let's just test that to make sure. All right, and we got the words are the same. Now, if I want to, let's say, test this against a different word. So let's just say computer. All right, and we run this program. Notice it does not show up. So that is something we're already pretty familiar with. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one better. I'm going to have this become a input. And please enter a word or phrase. So now let's run this. 5. Let's put in computer. The words are the same. So this, of course, is just a single if, which is perfectly legal. Then let's go ahead into our code and let's add in now some other conditions we want to test. Maybe we want to see if this is a different word. So if word 1 is equal to the phrase, let's say, technology. We can print, I like tech. You know, it doesn't have to be the same phrase. You are perfectly capable of making your own phrases. We can, of course, put other lines in here. Print. You probably do too. And, of course, the nice thing about else if is that it's not simply just, oh, look, we can test one more thing. We can technically test as many of these as we want that we put else ifs in for. So I can make another one that's an else if, and maybe I can have it say, instead of computer or technology, maybe I'll have it say instead something like nerd. Have it print, get geeky. All right. And of course, I can keep adding more and more and more else ifs. In fact, I can add as many else ifs into my program as I want. There is no limit really to the amount of else ifs that you can put into your program. Then, of course, you can, of course, put your else here to act as your catch-all and just have it print out something. Just have it do a print any other phrase. All right. Now, remember, else is not mandatory. Even with else ifs in here, I could technically take that else out of here, and the program will still run just fine. So let's just go ahead and run this program one more time. Here's my 5. I'm going to, this time, let's put in geek. And of course, you can see we get the else. Only difference is if I take this else out of here, the only difference in my program is going to be that when I type the exact same thing, is that there's no output because I didn't catch that word. That's really the only difference of not having that else in there. All right, and that's about it, folks. It should teach you just about everything that you need for your program that you're going to need in order to succeed with if and else if. There's one last thing that we're going to go over, and that is going to be testing multiple conditions, but we'll handle that next time.